names of political parties that have played a role in American political history. With the prominence of the Democratic and Republican parties today, it's hard to believe that there was no plan for a party system when this country first began. In fact, America's early leaders deeply distrusted the whole idea of political parties.
Partisanship in the early republic was thought to be inevitable, but was expected to be contained because it would be so fragmented, because there would be so many different factions that no one faction could survive. And the early generation of Americans, of United States citizens, was quite surprised, in fact, when parties emerged in the early republic. The Federalists and the Republicans of the late 18th century.
These parties emerged during George Washington's administration. Alexander Hamilton and the Federalists promoted a strong national government and business interests. The Jeffersonian Republicans supported states' rights and small landholders.
Each of them believed that they were the legitimate spokesman for what the nation represented, and neither of them believed in the legitimacy of the other. And that remained the case through the first 30 to 40 years of our national history until in the 1820s and 30s a modern conception of party emerged in which each party conceded the legitimacy of the other and even began to believe that there was a value in having party competition, that it would be another part of the checks and balances that made American democracy stable.
By this time, the Federalists had lost power, and the Republican Party had split into two camps over policy differences, the Republicans and the Democrats led by Andrew Jackson. These parties bore little resemblance to their successors.
It's one of the more remarkable and interesting features of American history that the Republicans and Democrats have actually switched sides on the issues of a stronger national government vis-a-vis the states. And from the time of Lincoln until the 1930s, the Republicans, of course we typically forget this today, but it was the Republican Party that was the party of nationalism.
That's what they came in with. Under Lincoln, for example, he said we wanted a new birth of freedom. He meant not merely the elimination of slavery and civil rights for blacks. The Republicans were the great positive reformers of the post-Civil War and early 20th century. And they put through things like Homestead Act, enabling people to take land. The transcontinental railroads, crucially important. Tariff reforms, grants for higher education, the Aggie colleges.
So the Republicans believed in an active government in many important respects in the 19th century, whereas the Democrats, who had their base of support in the South that of course had attempted to secede from the Union, and after the Civil War became the so-called Solid South, the region of the country that could be counted on to vote Democratic heavily in almost every election for nearly 100 years.